did it, though.
Welcome back for another episode of Real Southern Football. I have a very special guest with me, a guy that I have grown up with, a guy that has my utmost respect, a guy that has seen me grow, has seen me when I was a smaller guy, seen me as a bigger guy, and now as a smaller guy again. So without further ado, please welcome my good friend, Herbert Washington. Herb, welcome to the show, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know we've been talking back and forth about getting you on, and we finally got that done. So how does it feel now? You're on a sports podcast. How does that feel?
Man, Cole, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on the show. I love sports talk. So, this is just an opportunity that I bounced off you. I wanted to talk to you, so it feels great. And I'm excited, man.
It's a great thing. And I know when we were talking about possible things when you were going to come on, one apparent issue or one apparent topic has always been in the center of all of this, and that's the NIL, and that's the transfer portal, and just seeing how that has really taken college football by storm and how it's changed so much. So from your perspective of things, and I'm pretty sure you've probably heard coaches talk about this a lot, right. Given just recent issues, how do you feel about that?
So I feel like it's a great tool for kids to be able to build wealth and just create opportunities outside of football. So you have a few more options after football. So from a student athlete's perspective, I feel like it's great. Like it's something that you can't turn down. Right. What the coaches are mad about is they feel like a couple of the rules are being bent or guys are being bought, like how Saban is referring to that. So I guess in their minds, it's probably not as beneficial as it would be to a student athlete. But honestly, I just feel like it's just something where, just get some set rules in place, get some better regulations in place so you can avoid like those tampering things that they're talking about. Right. But it's not something that we need to do away with. It's definitely something that needs to continue. I'm seeing a variety of ways that student athletes are getting these deals. Like I saw one guy, I'm not sure what school it was, but he's doing something with a politician.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think it was a quarterback. I think he's doing something for politician. I forgot what school too, but it's kind of weird how all of this is happening,
Yeah, so it's just something where it came out of nowhere. So obviously with something like that, there's gonna have to be some regulations put in place and some safe measures, but it's a great idea overall. It's just needs some more regulation.
So we see how it's changing the landscape of like bigger schools. How it's changing like the Alabamas, the Texas A&Ms. I mean, we just heard Nick Saban going on a mini tangent about Texas A&M buying their whole recruiting class, and then you see Jimbo Fisher getting highly upset about it, and he's complaining he's upset about it, and then Nick Saban shoots a stray bullet to Coach Sanders, to Deion. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, we all know Travis is at Jackson State. We know that there might be something there, and it may not be them giving Travis $1 million. Maybe there was a deal. Who knows? That's none of our business. But you didn't have to shoot that straight bullet, especially for smaller schools, because it's harder for them to compete against bigger schools already, even before NIL. So if the NIL is going to help that, why not?
Ask the question one more time.
So I guess what I'm saying is, when we look at the things that are happening with the bigger schools, okay, how some of them are benefiting from NIL in different ways, in the transfer portal of how they're kind of recruiting guys. It's like free agency, basically. Right.
Yeah.
And we look at the smaller schools, right? And schools like Jackson State, maybe the North Dakota States, the Furmans, the East Tennessee States, whatever.
Right.
Those schools don't necessarily benefit as much with NIL because they're smaller schools.
Right.
So when that opportunity comes to get a high profile player like a Travis Hunter or another kid that's a 4 or 5 star athlete to go there, It's
Right.
I feel like it's a beautiful thing. However, why would Nick Saban trip about this? I guess that's my real question.
Right. Right. Because it's just when the balance of power gets shifted, like this is where this all stems from, in my opinion. Because part of me wants to say Nick is saying this because he's saying, okay, if I play by the rules that everybody else is playing by, I'll just win way more than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the NIL money is, it's backed by boosters and state money. When you got that Texas money, you can't beat that. USC, Texas. You see it, Cole? Like, hey, everywhere where they got money, they spending it.
Yeah.
So, Saban, that balance of power is shifting. So, in his mind, he's like, how dare Travis Hunter go to a Jackson State? That's the HBCU. What's going on?
Right.
But, there's a lot of great NFL players that have played for HBCUs. Jerry Rice.
Yep.
There's a few more that Walter Payton, of course. Yep. So, there's nothing wrong with going to those type of schools, but he's going to trip if he sees the number one corner on his board going to, let's say, next time it's East Tennessee State or something, or like he goes to Chattanooga because he has a special NIL deal where as soon as he gets out of school, he'll become like a full-time doctor or lawyer, something like that, of that effect. So, he's going to get pissed because before, we could just shell out the most resources to these guys, and the other guys, they just simply can't compete. As opposed to you give these guys these opportunities. We don't know what Travis got. He might just truly just want to play with Deion. And I feel like that's what a lot of it is about. But when the balance of power is shifted, the guys at the top, of course, are going to get pissy about it. That's why you hear Saban chirping, Dabo chirping,
Yeah. That stuff happens. I guess looking at it, and I see so many different things happening because of the NIL and the transfer portal. When you look at a lot of things that are happening for HBCUs, they're getting a lot of like 3, 4, 5-star athletes transferring to their schools now. And I don't know if Coach Sanders started that wave, if he started a trend there, and if Travis Hunter started a trend of a 5-star athlete going to a FCS, HBCU type of school. I don't understand the trend. I don't know if that's how that trend started, but there's ways of that happening. We saw it with Chattanooga. Chattanooga was bringing in 3, 4-star former athletes from all types of FBS schools, but it's beautiful to see how all of it's kind of changed. It feels like the game in a way can be more equal and a little bit more fair. At the same time, it can also be more disadvantages for maybe certain teams. So I don't know, but just kind of, I want to pivot a little bit now to just talking more about the transfer portal and how that has become a rampant thing. Matter of fact, you have a brother who is currently in the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken, and you're talking about kind of being able to leave a school if you feel like for example, you may leave a school if you feel like you're not a good fit there. That does typically happen.
Right.
You may leave a school if you feel like a coach has wronged you at some point, or you feel like the coach isn't giving you a fair chance versus when you were first recruited by him. That does happen. Another point is maybe a coach leaves, and then that new staff, you don't gel with that new staff, and then you also leave, or you may be getting your master's degree and that university may not offer that, and you just got to continue your education on somewhere else.
Right.
So being the big brother that you are, so nice and so humble and so there and so very supportive of your brother, what was his transition like going into the transfer portal?
So Aaron was at Bowling Green State in Ohio. It's a MAC school. Just felt like it wasn't a good fit. So when he got into the portal, and this is the honest truth, sometimes you don't think you're getting the amount of suitors that you would have the first time around. So like, you're going in there thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get some hits. If you didn't play a lot, or you weren't like a huge recruit coming out, it's very situational. So there wasn't as many suitors as he thought, but it was a lot better fits. And I feel like in the portal for a lot of guys, it's really situational and fit based. Like we got a school. They say they need a linebacker. I'm a sophomore guy. I played. I got 3 years of eligibility left. I fit their system, plug and play, So, the portal it's a beautiful thing because, you're able to stretch across the country. Like all the schools will be able to see that you're in there. And if you fit what they need, then yeah, it's a good opportunity. It's just, sometimes I just feel like what the other side of it is not spoken about. Like, Aaron is lucky enough to find someone to sign with. So he's been able to do that. There's going to be a lot of guys once the summer sessions start and camp start, they are not on the roster.
Yeah. So,
it's really hard to deal with. And that might be for a variety of factors, whether or not on D1 rosters or, there's a lot more opportunities at the D2, D3, NAIA level. They might not want to take those opportunities for whatever reason that might be.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like, that's the side of it that's not too pretty, but that's just it's just another reflection of how life is sometimes as well. Like, you might get left out. You gotta find a situation that's best for you. If you find a school, try to stick it out. If it's not working, hit that portal, but be aware that this is a second chance for you as an athlete. So you've seen how a program is. Think about it from that perspective. Think about the type of culture you want to be in, the type of player you want to be, and make a good choice a second time. If you have to take a step down, it might be a step up in your production and more exposure, more spotlight if you do your thing. So, the portal is a great thing, but like I said, sometimes it's not pretty. So
that's true. I mean, I can think about several guys that I played with personally that have entered the portal, and some of them haven't found a landing spot yet. Some have to walk on, and they miss out on being on the roster for a season, and it kind of screws them in the long run. But I mean, I feel like at certain times, yes, by all means, hit the portal if you feel like you spent 2 years there, you're not going to see the field, or
right.
It's just not that productive for you there. Yeah, by all means, leave.
Right.
By all means. But if you feel like, oh, I just don't like it here because I'm just not playing, I hate the coaches, I've only been here for like 3 months, and I'm not the man like I thought I was. And
stick it out. You gotta take that free money, man. Because once you get in that portal, that scholarship money is gone. And honestly, at the end of it all, even if you don't play it down, if you come out of school debt-free with a degree, you can move around with that. Regardless of whatever it is, you can do something with that. So I just want athletes to keep that in mind. I know it's tempting to jump into it. And if you're in a situation where it works for you, please do it. That's what the tool is there for. But just because something is there, that doesn't mean you have to use it. Please take that free money, guys, please.
Hey, look, because we've seen it too. You can look at the NFL draft. It does not matter where you're at. It could be NAIA, you could be D3, D2, D1 FCS. You can still get drafted, or you can make it undrafted somewhere.
They're finding guys everywhere, Cole. You see it every time. I'm seeing guys in the 5th round, same whatever state. Where the hell is that? But it's just like, they're gonna find you. You got that good tape. You got productivity to go behind it. You're a good character guy. You'll get a shot. Like, they'll find you. So just ball.
100%. Well, I'm going to cut us here because I don't want to take up too much time for the second half of this episode will be with Coach Cronic as we kind of talk a little bit more in depth about who he is, some implications about the transfer portal and whatnot. But Herb, stick around. And for those that will be watching the end of this episode, I will have something to say. Herb's going to be joining us more often. There's some news that is coming. I won't spoil it because it's not my news to share, but there's some news coming, and we're really excited for what's going to happen. But Herb, any lasting words you want to say before we jump into the next thing?
Cole, and I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. Athletes, y'all keep pushing hard, keep balling. Remember what's important. Put in that work. Get that free money. Get all the free school you can. Walk out of there with a master's if you can. Man, get it all. Get it all, because it can really change your life. Some of these opportunities. And it's not just ball. Football could take you so many different avenues. You can meet one person off of NIL. You can be a number one salesman of a company, run your own business. Take the advantages.
Yep. Well, thanks, Herb. And for everybody else listening and watching right now, please stick around. Coach Cronic Part 2 is coming up shortly. Mm-hmm. Well, I see. I don't know. Hopefully, time doesn't cut us off, and if it does, hopefully we can jump back in, because I really want to get into the kind of more personal part of you. Not too personal where we're getting too deep, but just enough, because I feel like there's so much about you that a lot of people do not know, that I was fortunate enough to really kind of learn in that 1 year we got to spend together. And that's really just how Christianity has really shaped your life, and how you have used that. Not really, I don't want to say used it, but how you have allowed it to influence the players around you, the coaches around you, and how you've been able to let God's glory shine through you. So how has that been able to shape your life as much as it has? Like, when did it click for you?
Well, I was very blessed that I grew up in a household that was important. And so I have not lived a perfect life, I promise you. I've messed up a lot of things, but I've been exposed, I believe, to the right things in my home growing up. And just my dad, that was how he ran his program, and it's real. I mean, I believe that the Lord wants to bless us. Okay. Now we got to do the right things, and we got to be ready for those things, and as coaches, if we're not doing it that way, then we're wrong. Okay. So my whole life has been, that's been a big part of who I am. I was saved at a young age. I became a Christian at a young age, was baptized. It's important to my wife, our home here with our boys. And it ain't gonna work if the Lord's hand ain't on. I know that's the case. And because of my experience, and because I've seen when we're faithful, even as sorry as I can be as a person, and as much forgiveness as I need, and as much help as I need, when you really try to honor the Lord with what you're doing, he ain't gonna let you down. Right. And so I think our players appreciate that. It doesn't mean that they're all, we're not shoving a Bible down their throat, but at the same time, we're going to run our program with those values. And I think our kids see that, and they see that Coach isn't just staring at the scoreboard all the time. Okay. He cares about me. He cares about my future. He cares about my family. I want it to go good for all these young men. I want them to have a great experience with us. And so it doesn't mean you're going to win every game. It doesn't mean that it does, but I do believe that he's going to bless what we're doing. And you can't always see what's going on at the time. I remember when I was at Furman the first time, I was on Coach Bobby Lamb's staff there, and we were let go. We were let go in 2000 after the 2010 season, and that's a scary thing, and you've got a lot of questions, about why is the Lord letting this happen? Why is this going on? And now I can look back and go, I would not be the head coach at Mercer if that hadn't happened. Everything that from that point on, God just put his hand on, and he's just taken us, to all these different opportunities, and every opportunity was a chance to learn from me, and prepared me. And so now I can look back and go, I understand now what seemed so scary at the time. It was just God getting us ready for something, getting my family ready for something, having a chance to spend time with my dad, my best buddy on the planet. I got to work with my dad for 3 years, that's amazing. And so I've been able to be exposed to a lot of really good people, really good leaders. Starting a program from scratch was an unbelievable learning experience. So all those things, he's preparing you for something. The sermon a couple weeks ago at my church was talking about, King David, and what, he was anointed when he was 15 years old. That's when Samuel came and found his dad, his dad and all his brothers, and none of them were the right one. Or you got any more? Yeah, there's a guy. I got the little one out here watching the sheep, and that's the one he anointed at 15. Well, he didn't become king until he was in his 30s. So during that time, what was going on? Well, God was preparing him to be the king. He was putting him through all these situations, and some of them were really hard, and sometimes it wasn't fair, and or didn't seem that way. So that's what we all got to understand. Everything we're going through, if we'll just handle it the right way, it's set up to make us better. It's set up to get us ready for something. And that's, if our players will learn that in our program, if we can help them understand that, then they're going to be successful as husbands, as dads in the community, and as businessmen. That's what we want from them. We want them to love each other when they get grown, love their families, compete with integrity. Okay. When you're running a business, man, compete to make it the best business you can, you know, outwork people out there in the world so you can be successful. Don't be a victim to anything. Don't, you know, you control, you know, what happens in a lot of ways by working hard and earning things, you know, and then just doing right and believing something good's going to happen if you just hang in there, you know, and you can't always see what's going on at the time, you know, so those things are important to us. And I think when we do that, it gives us the best chance to win. Okay. It gives us the best chance to win. You know, so I can promise you, I don't want to do it without the Lord. It ain't gonna work.
Right.
Okay. And he has been good to us. He's blessed the program at Mercer. You know, and I just try to keep it in the road and lead the right way. And like I said, sometimes I got to apologize. I'm pretty, you've seen me. I'm a fiery guy. I'm competitive and I want to win, and I'm intense. And I think all those things are positive when they're done the right way.
Right.
And you got to be able to challenge people. You got to hold people accountable. People got to see that, hey man, what you're doing isn't going to work. And then you got to love on them when they do it right. You got to tell them, hey man, that's awesome. You know, so that's just us. That's just, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do it, I guess, but this is the way we're going.
Right. Well, we're running short on time, so I got two questions left. And one of them is just kind of about, and I talked to Coach Quarles about this last week, and that's about how the transfer portal has continued to kind of change the way we look at college football. You've mentioned you have guys that have come from the transfer portal, and you've also have guys that are high school kids that are coming from Georgia, from the home state as well. So do you feel like the way this is going, that more college coaches will end up recruiting out into the transfer portal way before they even consider high school kids? You feel like it'll be more transfer portal guys on teams versus high school for graduated high school, you know,
Right.
athletes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, the answer is, you can already see it.
Yeah.
I think there's some place, and every place is different. Okay.
Right.
There's different academic standards at each school. There's different situations. They have different, you know, like, you know, we're a high academic, you know, private school, you know, and Furman's a high academic private school. But we have some, you know, it's easier we have more grad programs, you know, so everybody's got their own niche on how they can try to get good players in here and you know, how they can recruit and what their school will let them do. And, but you can see there's a lot of programs that, man, they're just living in the transfer portal. We're not going to be that way here. I want to get a lot of high school kids and I believe we're a developmental program, but there's still going to be times where you have a need, you know, where you need probably an older guy or something. So, you know, you just need to meet a need on your roster, and you're going to have to utilize the transfer portal. I personally can't stand the transfer portal, but it's a reality of what we're doing. So I need to be able to adapt and adjust and use it in a way that benefits Mercer. And it's still, the bottom line is, are you getting the right kids in your program, the right people in your program that fit your values? Okay. And so whether we're going transfer portal, whether we're going high school kid, that's still going to be the number one thing is, do they, you know, they have to be talented enough to play for you, but are they going to be somebody who comes in and improves your culture, or somebody who comes in and takes away from what you're doing? You know, I'd say for us, this past signing class, we signed 25 guys, and 22 of those guys were high school. Well, 20 of them were high school kids, and then 2 of them were actually prep school kids. Okay. So basically high school kids. So 20, and then we had 3 guys in the transfer portal. We might take 2 or 3 more here in the next month in the transfer portal. So you're probably thinking 80% of our signing class is high school kids. I think that's probably where we'll live.
Yeah.
But it just depends. Yeah. I mean, you know, because of there's so much, it used to be, you know, you signed everybody and, you know, on signing day, and then you kind of knew who was on your team, and people didn't move and leave and all that. You have to expect somebody's going to walk in your office at the end of each semester and say they want to leave for whatever reason. Okay. And so it means it's a moving target sometimes to hit, to make sure that you've got all your roster spots taken care of, and you've got each position, like you want to have it to be able to fight, for an 11-game season, hopefully more. And so, the way it usually plays, we're going to spend probably, the early signing, the early signing period or the normal signing period is going to be more high school kids than not. But you're still always going to have, you figure, we brought in a couple mid-year guys. Actually, we brought in 2 high school kids that graduated early. We brought in 2 prep school kids, okay, that had been somewhere in prep school for a semester. And then I'm trying to think, I think we brought in maybe 2 transfers at the break. So we brought in like 6 new kids at the break. And then we'll probably, there might be 2, maybe 3 more, that happened in the next month or so. Now, anybody, they had to have their name in there by May 1st.
Right.
Okay. So, or they weren't going to be eligible wherever they land. So, so I think you'll kind of see, you got who's in the portal now, and then you kind of see how some things work out. I'm hoping that the portal will settle down, that it'll level off, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the future of college football for a couple of reasons. I'm concerned that it's too easy now to quit where you are.
Yep.
Okay. As a father raising young men in my house, we don't want to have that kind of approach. We want to, there is a time to transfer. Sometimes there's a better situation for you personally somewhere else, but you find 2 things. Okay. You find that a guy wants to transfer if it just isn't going perfectly the day he shows up. Okay. And so everybody knows, man, I remember my first week at Georgia, I was ready to go home. Okay. I was homesick. Yeah. And, it doesn't matter where you go. I mean, most everybody's going to have growing pains, and you're adjusting and learning. And so right now we've made it really easy not to fight through that first bit. And because you think about how many guys probably felt that way when they went somewhere, and then a year later they were good. Okay. And they were playing and they were doing well, because they didn't have a choice. They had to stay where they were, and they had to battle their way through it.
Right.
And so now we've opened the door to where, man, after one semester, I can just be out of there if I just don't love and everything's not going perfect. So that's one scenario that you got. Right. Then the next scenario you got is the guy that's really having a lot of success. And if he's at our level, the FCS level, all of a sudden he thinks he's too good to be in your program, and he needs to be playing at a higher level. Right. Okay. And so you get some bad decisions made there, because the grass ain't always green. I feel like our grass is pretty green at Mercer. Okay. And things are going pretty well, and it's a good place to be. And all I know to do is build a great culture where guys want to be with us. You ain't going to make 100% of them happy, but you want the guys that are with you. You're being fair to them. You're being hard on them. You're developing. They see themselves getting better, and they see themselves having opportunities. And that's all I know to do. But I'm worried that the precedent that's being set is, man, if it ain't working out and you ain't happy the day you show up, you need to leave instead of committing to something and working for something. And like I said, there's times where you do need to transfer. You're a quarterback that's behind a really good player, and you really want to play, and that you're probably going to be behind that guy, and you've battled with him, you competed, and it just hasn't worked out. So, a change is good for you, and there's scenarios where a change is good. I just feel like sometimes that's the answer all the time. Okay. Is I'm not happy, so I need to change where I am. And sometimes you're the problem. Okay. You're going to go somewhere else and not be happy. Then you go somewhere else and not be happy. And before you realize, maybe it's me, not the places where I am, and so some of that is growing up and maturing. And so I hope that we can level this thing off a little bit. I would have appreciated it more if the NCAA would have said, look, let's try this one stage at a time. Used to be you can only transfer down and be eligible. Let's say you can transfer laterally and be eligible, but not up. and take it one stage at a time and just see how. But man, it was Katie bar the doors, and here we go. And I think what's happening with a lot of young men is that they're going in that portal and they get lost and they never resurface. They thought, man, I'm going to have all these offers. And
Yeah.
it didn't happen for them.
Uh-huh.
You know, so you're taking a chance, you know, so, and I get what people say, well, coaches can leave, coaches can change jobs.
Right.
Yeah, but this is what I do for a living. I've earned the right, okay, to you know, if I better win or I'm going to get fired.
Right.
Okay, so there's pressure that comes with, you know, the ability to make decisions and move and change, you know, where your career is and all that. That takes an adult,
Right.
you know, so, and then you've got the name, image, and likeness that throws another piece in there. Okay, so now are guys going to just go to the highest bidder? You know, and that's not going to affect our level as much. Okay, but it's going to affect the SEC. It's going to affect the, you know, the Power Fives, to where people are, who they going to sign with, whoever has the best deal.
Yeah, we've seen examples of that too. I mean, you can look at I think Pittsburgh's wide receiver. He's transferring out to go to Oklahoma or somewhere out there out west, and they're saying, oh, NIL's played a part in it. You can look at even college basketball. We got guys threatening to either transfer out or rumors or whatever about transferring out because the money isn't what it should be, because they're playing at such a high level. They feel like they deserve more.
Sure.
And it feels like the integrity of college sports sometimes gets jeopardized with all of that. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for college athletes getting money. However, I feel like it's getting to a point to where it's starting to get too close to how we would see guys in the NFL or in the NBA lobby for, oh, I don't want to play this season because if I get hurt, I might lose out on my next salary, you know, or my next contract. I can understand.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, I don't know, is a 19-year-old kid really ready for somebody to give him $1 million? You know, is he now? If I'm 19 years old, somebody give me $1 million, I'm taking it.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and so I get it. You know, but there's got to be a way to, or the other things you run into is, okay, your quarterback, you got $1 million name, image, and likeness deal. That left tackle who protects you, what kind of deals he got?
All right.
And so does it jeopardize the team because they're not mature? Now, when you get to the NFL, that it is what it is, man. You do it for a living. You're a professional. You get endorsement, all those things. But when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, man, there's a lot of pressure that comes with, you know, when you start making money. It is a part of that. I agree that the players should see some of this, but there's got to be a way to regulate it a little bit where you can kind of spread the wealth a little bit, you know, and that way everybody gets to touch, you know, something. Everybody, you know, feels like they're being rewarded for it, because I don't disagree. I mean, heck, those kids are making a lot of people a lot of money, especially at the highest level, you know, so we got to let it trickle down to them, but we got to, I don't know, we got to make sure that we don't allow one kid to get just, that kid's not ready for that. And the players around him are going to struggle with that, you know? So I just think we got to do a good job making sure that we don't, let's let young people be, I don't care what anybody says. I wasn't an adult until I got a job and had to pay my own bills. Okay. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, there comes a time where you become an adult, but let's let a person that's a young adult transitioning into that, let's let them transition. Let's don't throw everything at them. And because I think you're going to see a lot of people struggle with some of this. That's what I think. You know, but like I said, there's got to be a way to do it in a healthy way. You know, I don't have the perfect answer. I just wish there was a way that left tackle could, you know, see some of that, you know, that guy, you know, those are the, you know, you want everybody to touch some of that stuff. And that's like, what's the kid at Alabama, the quarterback, Bryce Young.
Yes, sir.
What do you have, $1 million endorsement deal before he ever took a snap?
Yeah.
Okay. And now he's a great kid and he handles it real good, but that's not always, you know, gonna be the case. And I just think that's unfair sometimes to those guys. But we'll see how it affects FCS football. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I guess you can. I guess how it can affect FCS football, because I mean, we can look at what happened with, and this may not even be the case, and I could be 100% wrong, which I'll be fine with being that. But we look at Travis Hunter, #1 high school player in the 2020 I think 2021 class or 2022 class, excuse me, he goes to Jackson State with Dion. I mean, and not only with that, I think there was like there's a deal with Barstool that he'll make so much money with them, and could that have played a part? Potentially, but I'm pretty sure there might have been other, Power 5 schools throwing a check around too. But, I can see that some guys will come to an FCS level if the money is there, or if the right opportunity can also be there as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's muddy. I feel like college football has gotten a little bit muddier within the last couple seasons. I don't even think it's really been a full year since everything's been muddy, but everything feels muddier than what it was. And I don't know. It just feels weird to see the direction college football could be going in the future.
Yeah, I just hope we can. My hope and prayer is that college football is about young men having a chance to grow and develop and learn how to do hard things, and fight through adversity and all those things. I hope we don't lose that. I hope we don't lose what really playing sports is about. It's a lot about just growing up, and not running from competition, not running from problems, not just going where the quick deal is. Sometimes you take the quick deal early on and it kept you from getting a big deal later on, so some of it is about, I just believe this whole thing's about people and relationships and who can help you get better. And when we're recruiting, that's what we talk about. Hey man, who do you want to be with? Who do you believe is going to invest in you, and who's going to care about you and try to help you be the best you can be. And so we're going to keep doing it like we're doing it. We're going to adjust. We're going to learn. We're going to learn how to deal with the transfer portal. We're going to learn how to use it in a positive way that gets the right young men at Mercer to help us be successful and help them be successful. I'm sure name, image, and likeness is going to trickle down to us. I mean, it's done it a little bit, but nothing earth shattering. But I'm sure at some point, there's be some things pop up. We'll do that in the healthiest way we know how, and hopefully, make it a positive thing. But it is interesting to see, and then even the way social media affects all this stuff. I mean, it's another factor in, social media just seems to be a place where you get the extremes. You get, and young people are bombarded with all this stuff, this side and that side. And most people, I think, live somewhere in the middle, and most folks are good folks. I think that, most folks are want to be good to each other, just want to treat people good. And we're all, we all got some level of selflessness about us, but most folks are reasonable, and I think get on social media and everything on there is unreasonable. Everything is just like all over the place. If it weren't for Mercer Football and trying to promote Mercer Football, I would not have Twitter or Facebook, because there's so much negativity. Yeah. And that's one thing our young people don't need. They need positive. They need somebody giving them a good message. They need somebody, they need to hear the things that are going to be uplifting to them and help them to see, look, you know what, I'm going to be a good guy. I'm going to bust my tail and good things are going to happen, and not live in a world where they think everybody's out to get them, and so you got to be careful about social media. You got to really, and politics and all the things that go with it. The bottom line is, if people try to be good to each other, it generally works out.
I agree.
So there's a lot these young people are having thrown at them, man. It's a lot of stuff, and it's not always easy for to make decisions and feel good about it, and so there's a lot.
I agree, and honestly, this has been a very, very good just talk with you. I mean, I've never had the privilege to kind of have these in-depth conversations with you. I was young, an 18-year-old fresh out of high school. You don't usually think about all these things, and all these things don't happen this early in your lifetime. But I do appreciate you for taking time out of your day to sit down and talk with me. I'll never forget when I first committed to Furman when you were the OC. sitting in that room at the Hyatt, I think it was the Hyatt Regency, if I'm not mistaken, sitting in that room with my parents, you and Coach Hendricks. And that was just a beautiful thing to commit there. I knew I was coming into a great situation. You definitely played a part in me coming to Furman, and I definitely appreciate you for bringing me in, making me feel like I was family. So with all that being said, last thing I'll ask of you, Coach, a message to all the Bears fans out there. What would you like to say to them? Season's coming around. What's going to get them juiced up and ready to go? I'm pretty sure you're feeling great about what's coming. What do they need to know to get them going?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm excited about the whole Mercer Nation, and people really got into it last fall, and I think they're excited about football, excited about the direction we're headed. There's so many positive things going on. There's so much support. And so we're just excited to get out in front of them, and continue to build relationships out there, and for them to see these kids play hard, and continue to grow. Because if you've been watching this over the last year and a half, you've seen tremendous growth. You're seeing kids playing hard. They're fun to watch. And I can't promise you how many games we're going to win. All that stuff there's so many variables that go into winning, but what I can promise you're going to see a bunch of kids who care about each other and play hard, and I like our football team. You got to have the ball bounce your way a few times. You got to have some good things happen, but you also got to create your own luck. You got to create your own breaks. You got to go into every situation prepared. But I took the job at Mercer. I was excited because I had a vision of what I felt like it could become. There were a lot of positive things in place. It's a great university. It's a great location in a great recruiting state. They have beautiful facilities. They have money there, and they're investing in the program. So there were so many things in place, and to see the improvement is just it's a blessing. And so we're excited about that. We're excited about where we're headed. And we need you in the stands. We need you out there hollering and going crazy and supporting our kids. And you get mad at me, if I make a bad call, it's fine. Just be there going crazy. And we're excited about where we're headed. There's good things coming to Macon, Georgia. And I'm just blessed to be a part of it. So, I'm proud of you, Cole. Okay. I see what you're doing. I see how sharp. I knew you were a sharp young man when we signed you. You did a great job at Furman. I know your folks are proud of you, and I appreciate you. I'm proud of you, and I want you to stay in touch with me. Okay. I know there'll be one game you're not pulling for me, but hopefully you'll be pulling for us the rest of the time.
I definitely will. I'm glad you brought up when that game comes around. I've never lost to Mercer until the year you became the head coach. That was the first time I ever lost to Mercer. And I was telling the guys that I had graduated the year before we ended up playing you guys, and they're like, "Oh, Coach Cronic's coming back to the SoCon. He's coaching at Mercer." I'm like, all right, I'm hoping for one or two things are going to happen. One, they kind of don't figure it out just yet when we play them. And then, I escaped going 4-0 against Mercer in my college career. And then after that, I'm sure it's going to get out of hand, and Mercer's going to end up running the conference at some point with Coach Cronic as the head coach. And I told guys that they know that, and there are guys that have graduated that we've all had the same sentiment. Unfortunately, you guys got 4 games in that fall during the pandemic. You had time to figure it out. By the time we got to you guys, Carter Peavy set a school record on us. So I don't like to hold grudges, but I just felt like that game kind of felt personal in a way. I don't know, but I'm really glad to see the success you're having, to continue to see it build upon what you've done so far. And just the way God has blessed you, your family, the coaches around you, and all the things that you've done. You're a really great man. You're a really great coach. And I just thank God that our paths have crossed the way they did. And I hope they continue to cross as you continue to move through with not only your career, but also as Mercer's head coach, and the things that will continue to come for not only you, but also your team. So thank you again, and God bless you. And wishing for a great season for the Bears, and wishing for a lot of success there.
I appreciate you, man. You're very kind. It's good to spend time with you. Proud of you. I love you. Just keep on trucking, man, and stay in touch with me, okay?
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you very much. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.